Bill O'Reilly. Welcome to the No Spin News for Thursday, January 20th, 2022. Stand up for your country. So I'm doing a lot of radio today, analyzing the Biden press conference yesterday. We were live. I hope you saw that. If you're premium or concierge members to BillO'Reilly.com, you can see it anytime you want. We do have a clip of it for everyone to watch on BillO'Reilly.com. We hope you do. Now, we're going to do a little subset today about it, advance the story somewhat. I'm not going to be repetitious. I'll give you the big picture on it, and then we'll get into some interesting sound bites. First off, the president had three things on his schedule today. He met with the Infrastructure Implementation Task Force. Wow, say that 5 times. Infrastructure Implementation. Infrastructure Implementation Task Force. Wow, that's an impressive title. Then he met with the Science and Technology Advisors. And then this evening he had virtual remarks at a Democratic grassroots event. So busy day for Joe Biden after yesterday's, whatever that was. New poll out this morning, Associated Press, obviously a left-leaning organization. And they polled 1,161 adults, 47% Democrats, 36% Republicans. So it's a bogus poll right off the jump. These people are never going to learn. So when you're 11 points down from one party to another, it's not an honest poll, you pinheads. Associated Press. Anyway, they asked, do you approve or disapprove of the way Joe Biden is handling his job? Approved 43%, disapproved 56%. And the Associated Press was like, oh, this is so bad. No, it's not. That's a pretty good poll compared to some of the other polls Biden's had. Now, the same question was asked a year ago, and Biden had a 61% approval rating a year ago. Now it's 43%. So by any measure, the first year of Joe Biden's presidency has not been successful in the eyes of the people he's governing. The folks, you and me. I'm one of the folks. All right. So most people thought that the press conference was a disaster, but not all. There was an article on a Fox News website of all places from a Democrat who helped Joe Biden run for president. He said it was a triumph. It just reminded me of Baghdad Bob. Remember Baghdad Bob during the Iraq War? We are winning the war. Oh, is that a tank? It just passed by with an American flag on it? So, if you think that press conference was a triumph, you're Baghdad Bob. That's who you are. But there were varying degrees. And as I told Sean Hannity on the radio today, and we have that posted on BillO'Reilly.com, it's too easy. It's too easy to disparage Joe Biden. All right? So I'm doing it in a kind of trying to be a little humorous about it, but at the same time, it's a little frightening that we have a president so disassociated from reality. It's a little frightening. So one guy who knows about politics is David Axelrod. He's one of the few people on CNN who will actually speak his mind. Most of them, they go in, they're told what to say, they spit it out. But not Axelrod. Here's what he said. Go.
I think you got to look back at this and some of the questions and some of his answers toward the end of this and ask whether that was the right strategy. And look, this is an issue. How you use Biden is a constant challenge. He's got some real gifts, particularly for empathy, which I think he didn't use very well today. But he also has limitations, and they wanted to prove that he could stand up to it.
Very astute. Biden shouldn't have done an hour, maybe an hour 10, not 1 hour 47 minutes. Okay? Because at the end, it was just like he didn't know what he was saying. The White House press corps, and I told the radio guys today, they should have government-funded daycare for these White House press guys. You see, some of them are 12 years old. It's a stunning decline in the White House press corps. Now, there are some smart people in there. I'm not disparaging all of them, but give me a break. No questions about violent crime surge, no questions about the border, no question about voter ID. I mean, come on, 17 minutes on Putin. Really? Do we really need 17 minutes on Putin? Okay, so if I had to put a label on this press conference and put it in a little jar, I would say that Joe Biden is out of touch, perhaps delusional. Perhaps delusional. All right, here's the backup for that. This was almost shocking on unification of the country. Go.
Is the country more unified than when you first took office?
The answer is, based on some of the stuff we've got done, I'd say yes, but it's not nearly unified as it should be.
Yes, the country's unified. Every blanking poll, Americans are at each other's throats because of politics. No, I'd say yes. Second, okay, minority vote. This is big for Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. They're suppressing the minority vote. Doesn't matter. There have been record turnouts from African American precincts. Doesn't matter. More people voted for president last time around than at any other time in history. You're suppressing the vote. Roll it.
I think if, in fact, no matter how hard they make it for minorities to vote, I think you're going to see them willing to stand in line and defy the attempt to keep them from being able to vote.
How hard they're making it for minorities to vote? What? How? How are they making it hard? By asking for an identification before you cast a ballot? See, this is when you say stuff like that, the press corps, how? How are they making it hard? It just drives me nuts. Okay, next one. I injected in this a little humor because, and I'm going to deal with this more at the end of the broadcast today, you don't want to get too cynical, all right, or too angry or frustrated. Everyone knows Joe Biden is not governing well. Now, whether they'll admit it or not doesn't matter. Anybody paying attention knows he's having a tremendous amount of trouble. So I was on WABC with Sid Rosenberg this morning. WABC carries our podcast at 9 p.m. every night. Very nice of them to do that. And here's what I said. Go.
Now, I have a contest on BillO'Reilly.com. And the contest is you get a free copy of Killing the Mob if you have been suppressed. All right? Just contact me because I don't know anybody who's been suppressed. Do you know anyone who's been suppressed?
I don't. And in fact,
we had record voting last
right,
time. Right. Record voting. So I guess there's got to be somebody somewhere who's been suppressed. And if you have and you get in touch with me, you get a free book.
And that offer stands. I just want one human being in America who was denied the right to vote or you had to do something extraordinary to go. Just one. Just give me one. See, it's the biggest con in the world. What a con. So here's back up to that. All right. Scott Rasmussen took a poll last October. All right. 1,200 registered voters. And he asked African Americans in that group, do you favor or oppose requiring voters to show photo ID before casting a ballot? Just African American voters on this one. 78% favor. 17% oppose. Okay. And then the net for everybody, not just African Americans, 85% of Americans favor photo IDs, 12% oppose. So why is the Democratic Party putting up this fake fraud about voter suppression? My God. Inflation hurting us all. There's some study out of the University of Pennsylvania Wharton Business School says the average working home in America pays $5,000 more today than it did a year ago for stuff. $5,000. That's a lot. Okay, here's what Joe Biden said would solve inflation?
The bottom line, if price increases are what you're worried about, the best answer is my Build Back Better plan.
So somebody needs to tell President Biden the Build Back Better plan didn't make it. Voted down. Okay? It's not going to happen. Now, you could come back, but how would spending $2 trillion help inflation? How would that help it? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. By the way, the highest inflation in the USA since 1982. So Joe Biden believes what he wants to believe, just like many of us. That's not a liberal conservative thing. People believe what they want to believe, whether they're Republicans or Democrats or independents. They have a tendency to believe what they want to believe. Many, and I hope most Americans, can change their opinion based on facts, but some will never change. All right? They're going to believe what they want to believe. Biden's in the latter category. You don't give him any wiggle room, because he's just going to tell you. That's what I told Hannity. You could ask him anything, he's going to say, hey, we did remarkably well. Okay, roll that soundbite. Go.
Am I satisfied with the way in which we have dealt with COVID and all the things that go along with it? Yeah, I am satisfied. I think we've done remarkably well.
There's 750,000 cases a day. That's more. That's like 65% more than it was this time, and he does remarkably well. And they don't have enough masks and testing kits, and they don't have enough medicine, and you've done remarkably well. You guys didn't anticipate anything. Biden administration didn't anticipate Omicron or anything else. They should have stockpiled. They didn't. But we've done remarkably well. Yay, yay. Okay, so no matter what it is, his administration has done excellent work. And all the problems in the country can be laid upon three institutions: COVID, Trump, or the Republican Party. That's it. Those three, they've done everything bad. He's done everything good. The only cogent answer, and I said this last night in a live broadcast, was on Russia. So Biden said, look, if Putin invades, and I know he did the incursion, but I understood what he was saying. If Putin sends 10 Russian troops in, the European countries aren't going to hammer him. That's what it was kind of about. All right, so I'm giving him a pass on that. Nobody else is, but I am. So I want to be fair. But Biden's answer was pretty good. Putin goes into Ukraine, all American banking stops with Russia. That means they can't trade in dollars, and the economy collapses. I said that years ago when Putin was giving people trouble. Are you looking for your next investment? Bill O'Reilly here. There are 8 reasons to look at the NRIA Real Estate Development Fund. Stable monthly cash flow payouts with double-digit targeted bonus returns. They strategically develop in lower-risk, high-demand neighborhoods. Prime new construction is short on supply and high on demand. Diversification is safety from stock market risk. They have a short and long-term strategy for returns today and down the road. Specifically designed pandemic-hardened buildings. They are 15-year industry leaders with a proven track record. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines or want to diversify, please start your due diligence at nria.net or call 800-800-1414. That's easy, 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
The election bill died, you know that. 5149, Manchin and Sinema, Democratic senators, voted against the filibuster to knock it out. And so they can't get 60 votes to advance the crazy election bill. And it is crazy because it doesn't have voter ID in it. And it doesn't have anything about Zuckerberg and his oligarchs spending hundreds of millions of dollars to try to tilt elections. Remember that story? $430 million by Marky Mark? into a few selected areas where the Democrats knew it was going to be tight against Trump? Remember that? Hiring a bunch of people to go all over and canvass and bundle and do whatever they want to do. Okay, where is that in the election bill? Doesn't exist. So I'm a simple man, and I wanted a guy to explain really what's happening in the election situation because we have the midterms coming up very soon. So you remember Phil Klein? He was the Attorney General of Kansas between 2003 2007. He was on the Factor a bunch of times. Well, he's now the director of the Amistad Project, and he teaches at Liberty University. He joins us now from Charlottesville, Virginia. So let's begin, Phil, because I know you're an expert at this, you're following this, you're worried about it. Let's begin with Zuckerberg. The corporate media is not going to report the Zuckerberg story, just simply blacking it out, not telling the folks. What exactly did he do?
He put $469 million into two nonprofits who then entered core election offices in swing states and essentially took over the offices and managed the election. So you had private interests managing the elections all the way from ballot design to how the ballots would be counted, to who's working for government, to voter turnout efforts, the whole thing.
Now, I reported that part of this money went to people, salaries, so that they could go to homes, nursing homes, things like that, and actually tell people how to cast their ballot, maybe even who to vote for. Is there evidence of that?
Absolutely. And there's also evidence that they targeted a specific profile of voter. They used the sophisticated technology of geofencing, Bill. You know how you take all the data about a person from their purchases and cell phones and their Facebook posts and all of that. You put it together, you predict their behavior. Advertising does this all the time. And they identified likely Biden voters. They sent government officials out there to go get them.
Okay, when you say go get them, they actually knocked on doors. They entered residences and buildings, and they coached people
and nursing
on how to
homes.
vote.
Absolutely. They call them voter navigators, as if
So,
it's complex.
At a polling place, it's a felony to electioneer, to tell anybody how to vote,
Yes.
to do anything like that. You can't do it. But it's legal for these navigators to go into private homes with mail-in ballots, bundle them up, actually take them to the polling places themselves. That's all legal, correct?
Well, our position is that it's not, because they dedicated these monies into government offices to have government play a favorite and benefit one candidate over the other. And that's illegal under various statutes. It just takes time to develop the evidence after an election and to prove the point, because they're not confessing to it. So you have to go to their own emails, their own expenditure of records and all those reports. And that's what we do. We litigate and we investigate and come up with the answers. And we're confident saying that all of this flow of money was to benefit Mr. Biden and how it was used in government. Now, Bill, as you know, campaigns do this stuff all the time. That's fine. That's fair game. But when you have government officials doing it, that's government playing favorites. And, they're talking suppress the vote. The opposite side of the same coin is for government to get involved and make certain people vote and make sure they vote.
So
That's
you're
what
saying-
happened back in Jim Crow.
You're saying that when Zuckerberg pumped all this money into the two supposedly nonprofits, the nonprofits selected various government officials, all right, to supervise the votes, and they were all Democrats, or 90% of them were, correct?
Yeah, they targeted specific areas where they knew there were potential Biden voters. They did it by looking at the Hillary Clinton undervote. Hillary lost a lot of Democrats. And they put money in there to bring those Democrats, make sure that they voted, and it's government that carried it out. But, Bill, it's so bad. You go to Green Bay, Wisconsin. The election clerk, who has the responsibility to run the election, was moved aside, and a private activist with a group called the National Vote at Home Institute actually managed the count, had the keys to the counting center, and decided how things were going to to happen because the mayor of Green Bay put him in there. And the mayor is not supposed to supervise the election. The elections clerk is. This happened everywhere they knew they had to turn out the vote for Biden. So Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Detroit, Green Bay, I can go on and on.
Anybody else besides Zuckerberg, he's the big gun with 469 million. That's up 39 million from what I have, but I trust your stats are correct. Any other of these super wealthy individuals involved with this kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We have tracked, now this is in direct money or expertise, okay? They also provide people at no cost to actually manage the election or run the election in these areas. It's over 1.7 billion in the lead up to 2020 and the actual election that they did.
All right, so the bill of Voting Reform Act should have contained a provision by this is illegal. You can't have private money involved in a public vote, and there has to have voter ID. Neither of those things were in the Democrat bill, correct?
Yeah, you're correct. They want to do it again.
You think they're going to be able to do it again? Now, 19 states, and I know Arizona in particular, has outlawed any private money going into any public voting. They passed a law. 19 states have reformed voting laws somewhat, but that leaves 31 states who have done nothing.
That's right. And some of those 19 states did it wrong, and they actually achieved the opposite of what they claimed or intended to. A perfect example is Georgia. Georgia said no private money unless it's appropriated by a county or a city. Well, the problem with what has happened is that money was appropriated by the city.
Yeah.
You know, one of our key aspects, Bill, is we treat every voter the same and we should treat every ballot the same. And when you've got a city spending $47 a voter like Green Bay to turn them out to vote, and it's a Democrat stronghold, and you go to a Republican area that's been shut down because of the leftist governor's emergency orders, and they have $7 to make sure people vote, you have a different treatment.
Well, that's what happened in Fulton County, Atlanta. That's what happened there.
Absolutely.
The Democrats controlled the whole voting apparatus, and shockingly, Biden won 85% of the vote, or whatever it was. All right, Phil, look, I want you to do me a favor. Between now and the midterms, if you see corruption, you got to be specific, got to name the names, just like you did today. Just call us. We'll throw you right on, because we believe that we have to have honest elections, and we applaud the work you're doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Phil. Good to see you. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's noticed everything is getting more expensive. We are in the biggest economic crisis since 2008, with a government that's printing trillions of dollars. Consumer prices at the highest we've seen in 30 years. Inflation certainly here. And if the government continues its out of control printing and spending, the dollar could continue its free fall and lose its coveted role as the world's reserve currency. While paper money will eventually have a shrinkage in value, there are real tangible things that will always maintain value. So how do you protect your money, your retirement, your savings? American Hartford Gold can show you how to hedge your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. All it takes to get started is a short phone call, and they'll have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. Plus, tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they'll give you up to $2,500 of free silver on your first order. So please don't wait. Call them now, 866-501-5201, 866-501-5201, or text BILL to 65532. Again, 866-501-5201, or text BILL to 65532. Okay, so every Thursday I go on WABC Radio, which is our flagship station. We have more than 300 radio stations across the country. We do the O'Reilly Update during the day. We do a morning update. WABC takes this broadcast at 9 p.m. And this morning I was with Sid Rosenberg, Bernie and Sid, and I said to Rosenberg, let's do something a little bit different. I'll be President Biden. You be the White House press corps and ask me questions. Roll the tape.
Okay, you ask me questions just like they did in the press conference. Go.
Okay. There are some people that were offended that you described them as Jefferson Davis and Wallace because of their stance on the Georgia voting rights and the filibuster. Did you say that? And you felt badly you offended those people?
No, I never said that. I said they may be drafted by the 49ers next year. That was my initial comment. I was talking about the NFL. Next question.
Next question. The southern border, it's become a complete mess. Why is that the case?
Because of tourism. We want these people to come in. We want them to go to the hotels and Burger King. And this has really, really ignited the economy, which is the best economy the world has ever seen, and it's not even close. It's tourism.
Okay. These are great answers. COVID, how was that whole COVID deal going for you, Bill O'Reilly? Where's the country at with that?
Hey, I think we got to firm up here, Sid. I think we got to get tough so you have the sniffles. I mean, what's the problem? We can't be spending all this money. And I'm going to send everybody a mask. And not only that, I'm sending the National Guard to your house to put the mask on you. All right? That's what we're doing here. What's the next question?
Well, it seems like, at least on paper here, that Putin and Russia are very, very close to invading the Ukraine. They've amassed about 200,000 troops. What's your stance on that, and what's going to happen to Putin if, in fact, he does that?
Look, Putin, if he goes in and he takes the country over, so what? Who cares? Ukraine, I don't know where it is. Can you find it on a map? Kazakhstan, Ukraine. Why are we bothering? We have voter suppression here. We have suppression in this country. What do we bother with Ukraine?
All right, so the point of this is we got to have a little humor here. You can't lose your sense of humor. You can't get bitter. You can't get disappointed in your country. It's going to be ruined. It's never coming back. It is going to come back. Now, we have to upgrade our politicians. There's no doubt we have to. All right, we have to update ourselves and seek the truth, not propaganda. Propaganda is taking deep root. But you got to have a sense of humor about it. Because if you don't, then you descend into an area of, I'm not going to use the word evil, but you're willing to hurt other people. So I've been a target ever since I started doing political analysis on a national level. I mean, these people have just attacked me and my family in every way you can. And they're gutter snipes. They're horrible people. All right? And I know who they are. I could tell you, I'll give you a list right now. Okay? And I knew that was going to happen. I was well paid. I took it, and eventually it evolved out of control. Okay? And then I just said, see you later. I'm going to start my own news agency, which I've done. Okay? But it's bitter. It's not going to get any better. But I don't want you, the O'Reilly listener and viewer, to do that. I don't want you to get hateful. I don't want you to despair. I want you to keep a sense of humor. That's why I did this with Sid Rosenberg, who's the greatest guy, by the way. Bernie and Sid in the morning, I mean, that show is rocketing in New York, and I'm happy to be part of it. But it's very important you think about what I'm saying here. It's bad. It's bad. Joe Biden's a bad president. And he's not going to get any better. He's not. He's going to get whacked in November. The Democrats are not going to be able to pass anything. So it's going to be a stalemate for 2 years. Then we'll have the presidential sweepstakes, and nobody knows what's going to happen there. But the progressive movement is on the verge of collapse. That's a good thing. Because those people, they're not looking out for you or me. They want power to control everything we do. Everything we do. That's what the progressive movement is. And along with Biden, it is in trouble. So you're going to see them lash out even more, but we don't want to do that back. We want to be firm. We want to report the truth. We want to spread the word, but we want to retain our senses of humor about it. I mean, look, as I said at the top of the broadcast, with Biden's press conference, it's too easy. You can rip him up. It's not even, it's like Trump. They went after Trump and they just made up stuff about him, Russian collusion, what the litany tell you. And it was easy to do it. Easy. He's a devil. He's horrible. His family's horrible. To this day, they keep doing it. Well, some on the right, some Republicans are doing the same thing to Biden. Right? I don't hate Joe Biden. I kind of feel sorry for the man. I mean, he's going to go down as one of the worst presidents ever, unless there's a miracle. All right? Unless Jesus comes down, and starts to run American policy, because this man cannot do it. But things will change. Things will get better. COVID will subside. Okay? In the meantime, people will get hurt. But again, do not get bitter. Keep your sense of humor. Thank you for watching us tonight. Got a new column coming up on the progressive movement on Sunday, and we'll see you on Monday. In a world that seems to have lost its way, who can you count on? AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. That's who. Now, more than 2 million members strong, AMAC believes in the values that we constitutional people care about. AMAC represents courage, faith, and reason in these trying times. They stand for national solvency in a time of runaway debt, national security and sovereignty over unchecked borders, and they believe in the sanctity of life. These next 2 years are going to be tough. Now is the time to join AMAC. AMAC also gives you access to a wealth of benefits and discounts that will save you money, including AMAC's bi-monthly magazine delivered right to your mailbox. So please join today at amac.us. That's amac.us. AMAC is better, better for you, better for America.
Bill O'Reilly is back on TV and only on The First. No Spin News, every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on The First.